Testing, testing. 네. 네. 곧 시작하나요? 네. 네. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the closing ceremony of the Inter-Noise2020. I'm Won-Suk Om at Yonsei University in Seoul, South Korea. And again, I'll be emceeing the closing ceremony today. I must start with a little bit of apology on our part. We apologize for a little bit of technical hiccup back then. Obviously, Mr. Murphy and Murphy's Law hitched the ride with us. But technical problems rectified, we can get going now. They say that all good things must come to an end, and I guess the Inter-Noise2020 is no exception. And oh boy, time flies. The last 4 days of the e-Congress seem to have passed in a heartbeat. I can only hope you had a good one. Today's closing ceremony will start with General Chair's closing remarks, followed by the brief overview of the Korean Society for Noise and Vibration Engineering, or the KSNVE, which hosted this year's e-Congress. Then President of I-INS will officially close the e-Congress. Also, just in case you're wondering about the venue of next year's Inter-Noise, which I'm not going to tell you for now, we have a cool promotional video for that toward the end of ceremony. So with that, let's get started. First, please join me in welcoming to the podium the General Chair of the e-Congress, Dr. Sam-Myung Wang.
Dear colleagues, peers, and valued members, it has been a pleasure to host Inter-Noise 2020. Back in Hong Kong in 2017, we, the current board members, were thrilled at the prospect of hosting Inter-Noise in Korea, as we thought to repay the hospitality shown us by many colleagues over the years. Although we are disheartened that we cannot greet our members face to face, we stand by our decision to prioritize the health and the safety of our members. I have faith that the future generation of Inter-Noise board will continue to protect the interests of our community. Here's a brief overview of this year's e-Congress: 821 abstract submission, 649 paper submission, and 865 registration in total. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge everyone who contributed to preparing our annual conference to fruition amidst these hectic times. Professor Yang-Han Kim, who provided guidance as the honorary chair, Professor Jin-Yong Jeon, who served as the technical chair, and Professor Yeon-Jun Kang, who served as the Secretary General. I also want to thank the members of the Technical Program Committee and our administrative staff. And last but not least, our sponsors and exhibitors. I would also like to acknowledge the INS Board of Directors for their strong leadership and commitment, our sponsors for their generous donation, and most importantly, our esteemed members for their invaluable participation. It is the continued interest of all our members that sustain our community and advances our field. I sincerely hope everyone enjoyed themselves and gained something from the informative session. I look forward to seeing everyone next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next is a brief overview of the Korean Society for Noise and Vibration Engineering, presented by Dr. Moon-Kyu Kwak, president of the KSNVE. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the founding of the Society, which calls for a double celebration with its hosting of the Inter-Noise2020. To come to think of that, it's kind of like your 30th birthday and a block party rolled into one, if you know what I mean. So let's have Dr. Kwak on the stage with a warm round of applause to hear from him.
안녕하세요. Hello. Participants of Inter-Noise2020 and members of the Korean Society for Noise and Vibration Engineers. Foremost, I would like to congratulate each and every one of you for successfully hosting and closing the Inter-Noise2020 conference. It was a great pleasure hosting a famous international conference in Korea. As some of you may know, this year, 2020, is also a very special year to the KSNVE because it is the 30th anniversary of the KSNVE. In celebration, we are holding a conference in which the Academic Organizing Committee has prepared many special events for. They have put in great efforts in coordinating, and I would like to take this chance to personally express my deep gratitude for their commitment. The anniversary conference will be held at the Ramada Hotel in Jeju Island in October. I sincerely ask you to actively participate in the 30th anniversary autumn conference, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you in good health. Thank you very much. 감사합니다.
Thank you. On top of this year's Inter-Noise 2020, we have another international Congress in acoustics lined up in South Korea 2 years from now. The Acoustical Society of Korea will be hosting the International Congress in Acoustics in the year 2022 in Gyeongju, South Korea. The General Chair of the meeting, Dr. Jung-Kwon Lee, wishes to cordially extend his invitation through his pre-recorded message. So can we fire up the video clip, please?
Hello, my colleagues in all over the world. My name is Jung-Kwon Lee, a professor in the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, who will organize the 21st International Congress on Acoustics in Korea in 2022 as the president. The ICA Congress has been held every 3 years, and the next venue will be in Gyeongju, Korea. From now on, I will introduce the ICA 2022 to you briefly to invite you to this academic festival in all subject areas in acoustics. The ICA will be supported by ICA. Strange. The former ICA means the International Congress on Acoustics, and the latter ICA means the International Commission for Acoustics. The International Commission for Acoustics was founded in 1951 for the purpose of promoting international development and collaboration in all fields of acoustics, including research, development, education, and standardization. The International Congress on Acoustics was first held in 1953, and since then, it has been held every 3 years. It is a comprehensive and a top-quality conference in all subject fields of acoustics. The 21st ICA will be held during October 21st to 28th in 2022 in Gyeongju. It will be mainly hosted by the Acoustical Society of Korea and At the moment, it is also supported by the Korean Society for Noise and Vibration, Korean Tourism Organization, and the Gyeongju City. Gyeongju had been the capital of the ancient kingdom of Silla, which existed for about 1,000 years in the period of 57 BC to 935 AD. In the 8th century, its population was the fourth largest city in the world. Among such historical treasures, Sokguram Grotto, Bulguksa Temple, Gyeongju Historic Areas, and the Yangdong Folk Village are designated as World Heritage Sites by UNESCO. A vast number of archaeological sites and cultural properties from this period still remain in the city, which survived from the major invasions accompanied with vandalism by Mongolians, Chinese, and Japanese troops in between 12th century to 16th century. Gyeongju is often referred to as the museum without walls. You will also feel and enjoy the mystic atmosphere and the scenery in Gyeongju. We heartily welcome you to Gyeongju for ICA 2022, a true gala of acousticians in the world. Please enjoy the hospitality of Korean peoples and the high-quality conference presentations. Thank you very much for your attention.
President of IINST, Dr. Robert Bernard, will officially close the e-Congress. He's connecting from the United States via Zoom. Dr. Bernard?
As the president of the International Institute of Noise Engineering, it is my duty to close Inter-Noise2020. Before I do, I want to thank the Korean Society of Noise and Vibration Engineering and the organizing committee for all their efforts. This has been an historic Inter-Noise. The decision to go to a virtual Congress was made only about 4 or 5 months ago, and there was much to do in that interim period, many decisions to make. I know there were many crisis meetings where people had to make decisions. The risk that you took to put on this e-Congress rather than to cancel or postpone, and the relatively seamless operation of the Congress are very much appreciated. On behalf of the International Institute of Noise Control Engineering Board of Directors and all the delegates that attended the Congress, we want to thank you very much. Over the many phone calls we had to discuss details and to advise you, I got to know many of you very well. And I want to make sure that I thank specific individuals for their efforts. It was quite an effort, and in particular, I want to thank the General Chairman, Seung-Wan Yang, the Technical Program Chairman, Jin-Young Jeon, the Secretary General, Young-Jun Kang, the Honorary Chairman, Yan-Han Kim, and in particular, I want to thank the President of the KSNVE, Moon Yuk Kwak. There are many others on the organizing committee, too numerous to mention, but I know that you were all involved in significant contributions to the Congress to scramble to make all this work. And also to the members of the PCO who have been in constant contact with us and keeping us informed. To all of you, I want to give a big thank you on behalf of both the board and all the delegates that came. Now, the Koreans that I know how to celebrate. I chose the virtual background, the Gangnam district. I hope that all of you will give yourself a well-deserved pat on the back, socially distanced, of course, so that you don't get infected, but it was a job well done and something that I hope you will celebrate. So with that, I want to declare Inter-Noise 2020 closed. I have two more comments I'd like to make before I give up the podium here. First of all, I think many of you are aware that this is the International Year of Sound. We have a global set of events that are happening. Inter-Noise2020 was one of those events. The Year of Sound has been extended into 2021. I hope that you will join the other acoustical societies around the world in celebrating at the events. There's a website for the International Year of Sound, and also there's connections to the International Year of Sound through the Inter-Noise2020 website. So please continue to celebrate, to learn about sound through the International Year of Sound activities. And my last duty is to declare Inter-Noise2021 open. We will hear some information now about 2021, the Congress in Washington next year. We hope we will see you there. If not, we hope we will see you in some sort of a virtual Congress. But our best wishes and hope that the whole noise control engineering community will be able to work through this very difficult situation and be together again next year. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. By the way, I gather it's 3:30 a.m. Local time where Dr. Bernard is. So I think we owe him a warm round of applause for being such an early bird for all of us. So. All right. At the beginning of the ceremony, I told you that I wasn't going to tell you where the next venue of the Inter-Noise 2021 will be, but Dr. Bernard just told us it's going to be in Washington, D.C., USA. So I always wanted to visit there. So let's fire up the video invitation to the 50th International Congress and Exposition on Noise Control Engineering next year, which will be held in Washington, D.C.
Some people call this place the most powerful city in the world. Others call it Washington, D.C. But I just call it home. This place is magical. Not because the president lives here, or because of the monument and the museums, but because of the people. It's like a whole other world. Culture, the history. It's easy to get lost in it all. But sometimes you have to get lost to find yourself. A lot of people just pass through. But this is my home. DC, I love you. people call this place the most powerful city in the world. Others call it Washington, D.C. But I just call it home. This place is magical. Not because the president lives here, or because of the monument and the museums, but because of the people. It's like a whole other world. The culture, the history. It's easy to get lost in it all. But sometimes you have to get lost to find yourself. A lot of people just pass through. But this is my home. DC, I love you.
All right. I hope we can all attend next year's Inter-Noise Congress. I mean, physically, not just virtually. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Just a quick reminder, you can access through the e-Congress homepage all the technical contents of the Congress, videos, the program book, the proceedings, the whole 9 yards, till September 6th. The exposition will be extended to October 23rd, okay? So you have plenty of time to check it out. Again, please check out the e-Congress homepage for all the technical contents and exposition. I'll tell you, it's a treasure trove of many valuable information. So, I guess this concludes the closing ceremony of the 49th International Congress and Exposition on Noise Control Engineering. I wish to thank one last time all parties involved who made this e-Congress possible and successful. Please be safe and sound, and I hope to see you next year. Signing out from Seoul, South Korea, goodbye and good luck.